Hello, everyone. I'm so excited about today's guest. She is awesome. We actually met through social media. Can you believe it? And I was just reading about her and I was like, I got to have her on my show. You guys know how much I'm into mental wellness and mental health. This month is so powerful because it's Women's History Month. So I tried to highlight some powerful Black women magic. I don't like Black girl magic, even though I love, I understand we women now, honey. Okay.
Right.
All the girl stuff is out the window. All right.
Absolutely.
Black women magic, but also I've been highlighting a lot of mental health. People that deal with mental health is very important to me, has been very important in my life. And I've been highlighting women with businesses this month. And this is Miracle May. I love it because I feel like this month, May, is going to be the month of miracles. And we're going to see so many things happening. So before we go any further, I want to introduce you to the wonderful Dr. Ashley Lowe-Simmons. How are you doing, Dr. Ashley?
I am great. How are you?
Good. Now, I happened to find you on social media, but I also saw you had a graduation. Tell me about that. Where did you graduate from? What was your degree? I'm so excited for you.
Let me just say, I'm glad that it's over.
Yes.
I'm so glad.
I'm going for my dissertation. So, girl, pray for me.
Yes. So like you said, Dr. Ashley Lowe-Simmons, I just graduated from the University of Southern California with with my doctorate in social work.
Yes.
So I'm all things Momz, money, and mental health. And so in school, I focused on single mothers of color, Black and Hispanic, and created a financial wellness program for them and for their children. So that was the focus of what I did. I'm just glad that it's done. I really hate school. I say it all the time, but I do.
I used to love school until I did my doctorate program and I had to write a dissertation. And now I'm like, God, where are you?
Yeah. Ours is just a little bit different because since I did a practice-based program, I had to write a capstone. So
yes.
I didn't have to do a dissertation, but it was still 100 and some pages. So that's
God.
a lot.
So that's like a dissertation, basically, right? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I love those project-based dissertations, though. They seem to be a little bit better. But I will say that congratulations. I love it. I love what's going on with our Black women. They are really standing out, getting these, degrees and really shining. What made you want to get into the field of social work? Social work is the field that I say is the most underrated, underpaid field ever. But what made you decide to get into it?
So social work was an accident for me.
Ah.
Yeah. So my associates is in pre-law. I wanted to be an attorney because I thought my aunt was an attorney and she was my favorite aunt, right? And I love what she did. So I did pre-law, and then I went and got my bachelor's in criminal justice, worked in the juvenile justice system for about 4.5 years or so. Got pregnant, had a baby, was on light duty. I hated my job, depressed, postpartum, everything. My girlfriend that I worked with, she said, Ashley, just go back to school to get your master's. I'm like, for what? To go get what? Like,
right.
So
to do what? Right.
You're right. So I took the LSAT and I was really just trying to figure it out. But on the journey of figuring it out, I used to always get called on by the psychologist at the juvenile detention center that I worked on. That I worked in. So God was already like setting me up and preparing me for my now way back then.
I love it.
So I was like, God, like, I'm tired of this. I'm going to apply to a university. She told me social work. She suggested it. She said, that's what you're doing already. And so I said, okay. So I went ahead and I only applied to one school. I called one of my relatives that lived in Baltimore, Maryland. He said, check out the infamous Morgan State. Morgan is the only school I applied to because I procrastinated.
Right.
So I prayed on it. I said, God, if I get accepted, we gone.
Right.
I got that acceptance letter.
Yes.
And we was gone. So we were, it was definitely an accident, but sometimes what we want or what we want to do is not what God's plan is for us. So
oh my God, so true. Girl, me too. I wanted to be a lawyer. Actually, I'm thinking after I finish the dissertation, maybe I'll go to law school.
Have fun.
Have fun. Law. No, but yes, seriously. Yes, it's so true what you said. God always has different plans for us. And I love the fact that you kind of fell into it by accident, because I've heard that from a couple of social workers that I've interviewed. They were like, "Oh, I fell into it by accident."
Yeah.
So I love that. And then you guys have such a passion for it, and I can hear your passion and the way that you're trying to help single mothers. What do you think is the biggest right now mental health crisis that you've come across?
The biggest mental health crisis, I'm going to just say COVID and the condition of the economy, because there is a level of uncertainty that we're not used to, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Which creates a great deal of anxiety, and anxiety is normal. However, when it becomes too much and you're not able to function, it becomes a problem. And when you don't have the tools necessary to help you to decrease that anxiety, then it's, like you can't, your life is just twirling out of control. You can't control your mind, your thoughts, nothing. And so many people are just concerned. They're saying recession. You look at the price. We were just in LA. Gas was almost $7.
Are you serious?
And we had a Suburban. I was like $150, $160 to fill up the tank. Why?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So people are really just trying to figure out how are they going to make it. You go in the grocery store, and I was in Sam's the other day, and a 10-pound bag of chicken wings was $37.
Wow.
Think about people that's making minimum wage, that's really out here, like, we're already struggling to make ends meet. So you got financial distress, not sure what's going on with the economy. It's just so many things. But I think that's the biggest crisis that is going on today.
Yeah, I would agree with you. The pandemic really did change a lot of people's mental health, right? Especially because a lot of people are isolated, and with the lockdown and just, so we lost that face-to-face connection. We lost the connection of touch, which I think is important. And so I agree. The pandemic brought out some new mental health issues that I think we're still dealing with now, with people going out killing people, and
absolutely,
it's been ridiculous. Especially as people of color, I think we have a lot of anxiety about where our place, kind of like what's going on here. We're living in this circle, this bubble of, and so it's so good that you said that. I think that is the truth. I want to talk a little bit about your upbringing. Where were you raised? Like, were there any moments in your life that you felt like, I'm just not gonna make it? I want to hear about those moments.
I don't know if y'all ready for this. No,
we ready. We ready, sis.
No.
We ready.
Honestly, my upbringing was really different, but I'll be 37 next month, and I'm grateful for everything that I endured. When it comes to giving up, I've always wanted to give up, but God wouldn't allow me to. And so the strength that I had no idea, but it came through all of my struggles, right? So born and raised in Peoria, Illinois, small town, about 2 hours from south of Chicago. Grew up there. Mom and dad both on drugs. Father significantly older than my mother. Recently found out that my father was married when my mother got pregnant with me. So like just a lot. And my mom was trying, but I'm grateful that we had family. So we had my grandmother, my mother's mother. We had my father, he was around pretty frequently. We had cousins, just a ton of relatives that were willing to step in, right? So it's me, and I have a brother that's 4 years younger than me. And I say it jokingly, that I'm everybody's mama, right? Before I was even a mother, I was, taking care of my brother. And, when my mom wasn't around, I was trying to feed my brother because I seen my mom do it. Kids, we learn by what we see. Right, that socialization aspect. So that part, and then we never stayed one place for too long.
Wow.
I went to a different school every single year.
Wow, really?
Yes. I sat back and I reflected, and I was like, okay, I went to this school. I was in a private school, Catholic school kindergarten, then this school, and I started naming them. And I was like, how did I even end up like this to have such an unstable life? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't hold anything against my parents, because during the pandemic, I was really going through like stages of silence, right? Where I would just sit and be still. And in that stillness, God would speak.
Wow.
Right? He speaks the loudest when we are the quietest. Like sometimes we just gotta shut up and let him just be.
Let talk, yes.
You know what I mean? And so we don't do that in the world. And when I actually sat and I allowed myself to just be, God would talk. And so that's how Conversations with a Clinician, which is one of my brands, that's how that was birthed, out of me being still and God telling me, you're the clinician, have conversations, because everything impacts our mental health. If your hair starts falling out, your mental health. I got dark spots now because of the stress that I've been going through with this program. That could impact your mental health if you're used to having clear skin. So many things. But let me see. Moved in with my father in about 5th grade. My father was an elder in the church. He was also a pimp. How ironic, right?
Talk about a double life.
Listen, but my father was a wise man.
Most of the pimps were wise, though.
I mean, he was able to give me street smarts and, you know, the spiritual aspect. So
right.
Make sure you go to, and would tell me, don't straddle the fence.
Right.
Either you in or you out. And I'm like, but you know, sometimes we get entangled and we want the best for our children or those that are closest for us, but we can't really pull away to be that example.
Right.
So we lived with him. He was extremely strict. I couldn't talk to boys on the phone, couldn't wear fingernail polish, just so many things. Like,
he didn't want you to meet him. He wanted to make sure you didn't marry nobody like him.
Exactly. He would always say, like, you can bring a baby home. And it never made sense to me because, yeah, I can bring a baby home, but my brother can produce a baby. That double standard. You know what I mean? But I understood where he was coming from, because about 90% of the time, the mother has to be there unless she wants to give up her children for adoption, which is her choice if that's what she chooses to do. Moved to Georgia, lived in Georgia my sophomore and junior year with my father and his ex-wife, so stepmom. Did that. Went to college at Grambling, missed my daughter's father, in love, went back to Peoria, went to junior college, and it was just so many different, you know what I mean, things. But everything that I endured, like, I'm thankful for it, extremely thankful. It was tough, but I mean, it built me to be who I am today.
Yeah, I love that, because you know, the greatest people that we see with the greatest obstacles have the greatest stories, have the greatest overcome. You probably would not have the passion that you have right now for social work and mental health if you hadn't been through some things yourself, right?
Absolutely.
Like, how could you help other people when you haven't been through anything, you
know?
Right. So I love that you have the compassion and the heart to really reach the people because of your own experiences, you know? And I understand that. I love that what you said too. There's always this dichotomy of you know, this like double lifestyle that some church people live, right? Because it's like, don't do what I do, right? But of course,
do what I say.
Do what I say, right? And how did your relationship grow? How did you feel about God? I hear two different things. Sometimes when people grow up in those situations where they see people live a double lifestyle, they totally tend to turn away from God, right? And then other times it almost feels like they see God in a more human light, right? Like not in this religious light, this God up here that's judging and looking down, but in a more human. How did that impact your relationship with God?
So I feel like it evolved over time, right? So my dad didn't go to church. He sent, it's 7 of us. My mother and my father have 2, and then it was 5 from my father's first marriage, right? And they're all, my oldest sister is about 2 or 3 years younger than my mother. So it's, you know what I mean? Like, she technically could be my mother, right?
Right.
So it evolved because my dad would have us to go to church with one of my sisters. And she lived right across the street from us. She had 4 kids. And I'm grateful because she exposed us to church. She was trying to figure it out on her own because she was a single mom. And I seen her, and I was there with her kids who were my nieces and nephews. But so I grew up Kojic for my dad's side, Baptist for my mom, but more so Kojic than anything. We were in church 8 days a week.
Kojic didn't play.
Not at all. Sunday morning, Sunday school, Sunday service, go home and eat Sunday night. Like, it was nonstop. And so I would see and observe, you know, them shouting and dancing. I would hear the pastor preach, but it wasn't, I was going to church, right? That religious aspect. I didn't have the relationship though.
So true.
And I literally just posted that on my page, but it wasn't until I knew God was real. I didn't have any doubt about that. I just didn't know how to get closer to him. I didn't know how to trust him. I didn't know how to communicate with him. Even when I read the Bible, I didn't understand it. You know, Old English, that's not the language that we speak. Me being on the older end of millennials, but it made no sense to me. I relate to the Message version.
I love the Message Bible. Yes.
Now I read multiple versions, but so I didn't have that relationship, and it wasn't until I have a medical condition called endometriosis, and so I'm not sure if you're familiar, but when a woman, you know,
right?
Yes. Well, when she menstruates, it like breaks off to and it connects to other areas in her abdomen, so it never exits your body. And so that causes you to have excruciating pain. And so I was going back and forth to the doctor, trying to figure out what was going on. They told me I wasn't going to be able to have children if I didn't take a shot called, it was a Lupron shot that would send me into premenopause. And I said, I'm already crazy. I don't want to, you know, I mean, life alone got me feeling like, what in the world is going on? So I said, I don't want to rush and put myself into something earlier than what I'm supposed to. The doctor had poor bedside manners. So I was like, okay, I'm just quit. So I had a couple surgeries to remove the scar tissue and all of that. When I began to doubt God and think, because I always wanted a family, right? I wanted to be able to be like the mom that I thought a mom was supposed to be, or to be able to have a husband, to see like Black marriage work, like those. I wanted what I didn't have.
Yes.
And so in that, my daughter's father and I, like, we were not together. We were engaged. I called it off because we were living two different lives. He wanted to be in the streets. I was trying to pursue God.
Right.
And I was trying to go to law school. So it just, I'm like, am I going to be your attorney? Like, how is this, how is this going to work? Right. But I love him to death still. And I thank him for, you know, for my baby. So ended up getting pregnant because we were still, you know, having sex out of marriage, because that's what I was familiar with. High school love, right? Ended up getting pregnant when I began to doubt God. And believe the doctors, like, okay, I guess I'm not gonna be able to have kids. And so though I was not married, I feel like that me getting pregnant with my daughter was God's way of showing me that he is real.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And because it was that moment. I was early on pregnant, but Dwayne Wood's song came on. I was laying in my bed and Let Go and Let God. Play that song nonstop, crying. And that's from that point on, I began to build my personal relationship, not just the religious aspect of it, but I wanted to know who God was. I wanted to understand him. I wanted to tell people about him. And so that's how that happened. I was introduced to it. It evolved. I doubted. He showed himself, and here I am.
Oh my God, I love that. You know, that's where God will show up, right? In our most vulnerable moments, in the moments where we think we made a mistake, in the moments where we are like, oh God, where are you? He shows up, and then he's like, no, I am the I am, right?
Exactly.
Like,
exactly.
Don't doubt what I can do and who I am in your life. So I love
Absolutely.
that. I love that story.
Absolutely.
I think that's so powerful. The fact that you took a moment that, you know, could have been, you know, some people could have turned away from God, but you allowed it to bring you closer to God, and you had the faith, trust in him, and believe in him. How was it being a young mom? You know, I mean, I know it's had its obstacles.
So, I mean, I feel like I had my baby late.
Yeah.
Because all my friends had already had kids.
Okay.
I was 25 when I had her.
Okay.
Almost 26, but
so I was 22. So yeah, so I was younger than you. Yeah.
But it was a struggle, and that's how my passion for single moms grew.
Good.
Because when my daughter has been with me since day one. She's seen me endure my master's program. Though she wasn't aware of the financial struggles. I was struggling.
Yes, like, I know how that is. My oldest seen everything also. Like, she's the baby who knows it all, you know?
Yes. I mean, so much, but some stuff, if I probably shared today, it'd be like, statute of limitations.
Right.
Anyway, and so it was very hard. But when I moved to Maryland, my daughter was about 16 months. I didn't have a support system there. God brought my support system to me. My grandmother, she's 76 now, but she began to travel back and forth. And then she'd be there for 2 months at a time and 3 months at a time. Now that I'm married and living in Ohio, she's back in Illinois and she don't want to be here. She like, we done did too much. Like, I don't want to do this. So God brought my support system to me. I was able to send my daughter home over the summers to get like a little break. I was determined to find a community. I was determined to make
that's good.
Yeah, like if you ask anybody that I got graduated with, that got, when I got my master's from Morgan, they say, girl, you know everybody. And I'm like, because I was trying to meet people. I was networking. I'm gonna build some relationships out here because we cannot do it alone.
Yes, right? That's so good. Community is so important. I was also a struggling single mother, right? With my first daughter, with my daughter and my son, because they were a year apart. And I just had some rough days. I guess after I got divorced, when my kids were little, my husband was there kind of, and then he started to wean off and so then we got divorced and I was really by myself. And so I thank God that my parents, were there for me too when I needed them. And so it's a blessing, right? To have people that love you. There were times I felt like, oh my God, I'm by myself, but God would show up. Girl, we can probably tell stories about single motherhood.
Listen. Absolutely.
I look forward to them summer breaks where I was able to drop off my kids and be like, I'm just gonna sleep for a whole week.
No child care. I don't have to pay child care.
Yes. Girl, I know what that's like. That's wonderful. I love that. Community is important. And I don't think that we recognize how important it is. We're getting back to that, especially in our communities and, among people to think. I've been reading a lot of stories of women that, may have never got married, but they're getting together and getting communities, even moving in together and taking care of one another and kind of pledging to be there for one another. And I think that's powerful, right? A community is everything. You got the right community, you can really make it. So I love that.
Yeah. What's the saying? They say your network is your net worth.
Yes.
I believe it to some extent because your net worth doesn't just have to be monetary.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so you could be wealthy in health. You might have somebody you meet and y'all running together, pushing strollers.
Yes.
Whatever, you know what I mean? And so we have to learn how to be okay with allowing people to come in gradually, right? We have to let the wall down because if you try to do it by yourself, it's going to be even harder. And you're going to have to struggle even more. So it's not really worth it.
Yeah. So true. A lot of times too, I think as Black women, we're taught that we are just super women. We can do it. And, we can keep everything in and no matter what. But it's just, I found that to be flawed, because we can't, and we need people. And, yes, you're powerful within yourself, right? That's not what I'm saying. But there is power in togetherness, right? And like-minded people who just want to wish you luck. Now, wish you blessings, right? Because more than love, blessings. And I will say this is that when I was young, I was, even flawed in my thinking because I was that girl that hung around all the guys, right? I was like, I don't trust these girls. How stupid was I, right? Because now that I'm older, I'm like, wait a minute, my sisters, I need my sisters, right? They need strength, I never forget, I was dating a guy and it wasn't working out. And I was just like kind of destroyed. Like, this guy, he makes me feel so bad. And she said, well, thank God. Because you know what? That means that God got him out the way for somebody better. Because, girl, you are this and you are this and you are this. And I'm like, when I got off the phone, I was like, I could fly. That's the type of sisterhood and community you need, right? Is that whenever you feel like, you don't have the answers or things are going wrong, God will bring those people in your life that's really for your assignment.
Yeah.
And how have you been able to kind of see, I know, people for your assignment. I know that you're doing your conversations with the, with the doctor, right? I will say. And what are some things that you tell people when you're telling them about their assignments and their purpose?
Oh gosh, honestly, I feel like you have to, I kind of tell them, I always ask this question. What are you good at? So what do you do well with very little effort? Personally, I feel like that's the thing that you're created to do.
Yes.
Right. You don't have to work too hard. It's almost as if it's a gift that God has given you. So chasing purpose, it's a constant effort because we're constantly evolving, we're constantly changing, our passions are constantly changing. Because of my struggle, I understood who I'm supposed to work with and why I'm supposed to work with them. Right? They need me just as much as I need them.
So good.
And so when you find your niche, if you will, that's like a term we use in
niche. I use
therapy.
That all the time.
Yeah. So when you find your niche, go in hard. Try different things. Get a hobby. Travel. Go different places. When you begin to experience, so I also have a nonprofit, Moms on a Mission Incorporated. It's specifically for single moms. But when you are exposed to more, your mental frame is much larger. And so you're no longer small-minded. You have more that you can pull from, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I've exposed my baby to so much. She's traveled internationally since she was 5. She's 11 now. She wanted to go to Dubai for her 9th birthday. And I'm like, girl,
what? She bougie now. She like
exactly.
11. Yes.
So, but that's because of that exposure, right? And in that, I feel like in that exposure, the more you expose yourself to, the more you're able to begin to figure out and identify what your purpose is in alignment with what you enjoy doing.
I love that. One of my goals for this year is to be able to take all three of my kids to Africa. So I want to do like Ghana and Kenya, just do a little Africa tour with them. So I can't, that's one thing that I'm going to do because I think they would love that. I love that. I've been world traveled since I was in high school, and it's made all the difference, right? To get out and explore the world and see what's really out there. So I love that. Exposure is everything because it will really, change your mind about things that you think are so important that are not really that important.
Yeah.
So I love that. Yes, get that baby. I'm not mad at your daughter, okay? She want to go to Dubai. Tell her we going, okay?
I'm gonna tell her to cut the check.
That's right. Yes, I love it. So I want to move in a little bit because women, when we are successful women who have been accomplished, women also often have a hard time finding a good man or a husband or people that want to get married. What's going on with the state of relationships today with us successful Black women or women of color? I wanted to say Black.
Honestly, I feel like we are looking too hard and we are comparing too much. And so the Bible says, he that finds a wife finds a good thing. I didn't find, I've been a good thing, not bragging on myself, but I literally told my husband, I said, oh, I know I'm a good woman. I know I'm going to carry my weight. I'm going to take, you want a feet rubs, you want dinner, whatever.
Right.
Like, I know I'm a good woman. I'm going to take care of my man, but everybody don't deserve that. And so we start giving the men that we are involved with everything, and there's no level of commitment there.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And so I feel like we give too much, and then we get hurt, and now we don't trust anymore. And then, we trying to do us and we down talking men. And so I think that specifically as Black women, we need to honor our Black kings.
Yes.
We need can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, my daughter had just called. We need to honor our Black kings.
Yes.
We need to be equally yoked. We need to be on the same page.
Yes.
Hold on, let me text her.
Yes.
Child.
Your mic went out, but I can see you. Yep.
Oh, can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly. Yes.
Okay. I'm not sure what happened to my picture, but
but I'll take you out and bring you back in. Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Let me just give me 1 second. Oh, I don't know why it's not letting me.
Looks like the camera. Oh, it says the.
Yeah, let me see. Maybe is your camera muted?
Camera was unplugged. Plug it back in or select a different camera.
All right, it'll probably come back on. We can hear you perfectly though.
Okay. All right. So I don't know. All right. So what I was saying, like, we have to stop giving all, and we have to gradually give people a chance. Allow yourself to become friends. Do you really like them? See them in different settings. You know what I mean? Like, and you can't always be available. I know they say, you know, it's this little game that you play. I don't think it's a game. I think that, and not that you're playing hard to get, but you have to allow them to miss you a little bit. You know, don't always be readily available. If you're there at every beck and call, he gonna know that, oh, it's easy. I got this. Yeah, make them work for it a little bit.
No, I agree. You know? I love that, because I think that's so powerful what you're saying. Yeah, you can leave and come back in, and I think I should be able to see your picture. Did you, Ashley? Okay, she's coming back in as a guest. We were talking about me and Ashley, about her being married, and she's given us great conversation. So hold on, I think she lost the stream, but we're gonna get her in 1 second. Powerful conversation about her upbringing. And it's so important that we don't let our upbringing make us a statistic, or, you know, we can always make excuses for, you know, I didn't have this, I didn't get this, I didn't get the love, my parents was on drugs, whatever. But Ashley is a true overcomer. And she's one who has beat the odds when it comes to, look, she graduated with a doctor's degree, and now she's helping other people. And I didn't even know why I wore this shirt today, but hopefully, Ashley, I'll say this again when she comes. But I love this. This is one of my favorite shirts, and it says fear, anxiety, doubt, sin. And it has all the things that can really cloud who we are, but God, you know. I don't know why I can't still see you, Ashley, but one thing I was saying is that I was wondering why I wore this shirt today, and now I know I wore this shirt because of you, your story, you know. Fear, anxiety, doubt, sin, but God, you know, all these things that try to make us less than, that try to dictate our future, but God is the, you know, the source of everything. So you were talking about how, yes, you don't make it so easy, right? And that I think that's another thing. I think that even I found this for myself. So let me just put myself on the line, is that we as women, sometimes we get like lonely and we get desperate, and we start searching. And whenever you out there searching, you're going to run into the wrong thing, you know?
Yeah.
And you get desperate and you start doing for people. You know how many times I've done for people, and I'm like, why am I doing this? I'm the prize.
Right.
You know, I'm the prize, you know? So I think that's important, that we understand as women that we are the prize. And that's, I love what she said too. She talked about being equally yoked, which brings aboard another conversation, because some people are not equally yoked in their relationships. And I think equally yoked is just more than saying, hey, he's a Christian, I'm a Christian. Equally yoked can be that, do we have something in common? Are we equally yoked intellectually, spiritually, emotionally, right? How do you feel about the way you want to upbring your family? I mean, do you believe your kids should do this and my kids should do this? So I think that's important. How you treat people, right? A lot of people I've met that said they're Christians, but then when their character shows something totally different, like they're treating people like, you know, they're not Christians. So I think equally yoked means more than just saying, hey, I'm a Christian and you're a Christian. We're going to wait to get Ashley back so we can talk about, wrap it up and talk about what she's doing, her work in the community, and, you know, what she finds so fulfilling about it, the joy about what she does. You know, I've been focusing on mental health. We have some great mental health guys. I have Dr. Faith Brown coming back again, and she will be also discussing mental health. And we're going to focus on relationships and women. So tune in, because it's going to be awesome when we do that. Oh, we see her. Yes, she's back. We see you, girl.
I logged on from my phone. I don't know what's going on with my computer.
Oh, something happened, but that's okay. We got you. So I was talking about what you were saying and how you were talking about being equally yoked, and how I love that, because I think that's so important, right? And equally yoked doesn't just mean you say you're a Christian and I say I'm a Christian, right? Because I've been with people who say they're Christians, but I couldn't have a conversation with them. You know,
Right.
we're not equally yoked in certain ways where it's like, okay, I couldn't be with this person. They only know one thing. And I'm like, you know, I know a whole plethora of things, right? So I think it's important that you're equally yoked in more ways than one. I love that. Now, how did your love story begin? Tell us, what was the secret? How did you find your husband? Like, what happened?
Well, I didn't find him. He found
He
me.
found you. That's right. I got it. Yes.
So he's from Baltimore originally, previously married. The church that I attended in Maryland, he used to attend when he lived in Maryland.
Okay.
So
cool.
he pretty much grew up with my bishop's children, and they were really, really close. So I was, you know, minding my business and drinking my water.
Love it, girl. Drink water, girls. Stay hydrated. Drink water.
Stay hydrated. So I would see him come in church, and I would see he had 3 children. I would see him, his 3 children, and his wife. But honestly, my husband came wrapped in a package that I would have never picked.
Right. Ooh, that's good.
And not in a, you know, we want an Amazon package, but FedEx comes. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
So yeah, I guess he had gotten divorced, and I didn't know it. I just seen him come into the church with his 3 kids. But again, I would speak and be, you know, cordial. But I wasn't like, oh, he fine. Like,
yeah. You wasn't thinking about him like that, right? Gotcha.
Nope. So my husband he's shorter than me. Every man I've dated pretty much has been, you know,
Jesus, I
6'1".
Tip 2. Get rid of them lists. Sometimes God will give you what you think you don't want. Okay.
Yes, it's so true. But I was really doing everything I was supposed to be doing. I was seeking God. I was fasting and praying. Ooh. I was, you know, just traveling. My credit got good. My money was good. My career had started.
Wait, hold up, girl. Tip 3: do you be whole in yourself so he can find you?
Absolutely. So, sorry, my baby got a little issue.
Right.
Anyway, you know, though I'm not a single mom anymore, like this how it goes. That's right.
Bit. Yes.
So one of my good girlfriends, the bishop's daughter, said, somebody asked me about you. I said, who? She said, but I cannot tell you. I'm not going to tell you. Now we're really close. Like,
right.
Same person, different body, really.
Right.
And so I'm like, why would you even tell me that someone asked about me if you're not going to tell me? It is?
Right.
And she's like, you know, don't worry about it. Just know that somebody out here watching you. And I'm like, what? So anyway, he asked my girlfriend about me. She didn't tell me until after the fact. And then my father passed away in 2019. My dad passed away in 2019. Him and I, because I was in network marketing previously, I was, you know, following people that I didn't know, trying to build relationships through social media, because that's how we got, you know, built relationships and got customers and other people involved in the business. And so that's what I had done with him. You know, and I think he sold some of the products that I sold also. I think he was on my team for a little bit. Again, still not interested. But then when my dad passed in 2019, I noticed that his uncle passed like that following week when I returned back to Maryland. Wow. And so I said, you know, just being the friendly person I am, I said, hey, I noticed that, you know, someone in your family passed away. Like, if you want to talk, grab something to eat or something like that. Like, you know, just let me know. I know how it is being around family when you're dealing with death. Right. Because I know how it is. I had just dealt with it. And so that's what happened. And he sent me a message. She was like, well, I can't, what did he say? I'm not going to be able to, like, you know, get up and do anything with you, but is it okay if I call you? And so I'm like, okay, cool. So he's like, okay, well, can I FaceTime you? And I was like, if you don't mind me having this bonnet on.
I love it. Listen. Lesson number 4, a man who loves you will not care about you having a bonnet. Okay.
I mean, I told you, like, real, raw, and authentic. My friends talk about me all the time because I'm educated, I'm professional, but I'm a little hood and a little ghetto.
Oh yeah, me too, girl. We gotta That's what makes us unique.
You know, they say you can take the person out the hood, but you can't take the hood out of them. Like,
Of
I had to
course.
tame it down some.
Right.
But it's who I am. And so he I guess he didn't believe I was going to wear the bonnet, and he called me, and I had this big old bonnet on. And we talked for 5 hours.
Oh my God.
And that became the norm. And he didn't live in the same state as me. And so then it went from, I think I like you. Like, when I come in town, can I come visit you? Me? Sure.
Right.
Then it went to, you know, us becoming, you know, a thing. Then it went from, and it went fast.
Right.
Wait a minute. I got to rewind real quick. I was in church and I prayed for 3 things. I didn't share this in my testimony, but I'm going to share it now. So I prayed for 3 things in a husband. I wanted someone who was going to accept my child as if she was their own. Mm-hmm. I didn't want my child to be mistreated by my husband.
That's right. That's a good.
I wanted a man that did not have a hand problem, because I grew up seeing my mother and my father go head to head all the time. So, and I said, that's not going to be me. I'm going to be in jail.
Amen. That's right, girl.
And the third thing was, I wanted somebody who really loved the Lord and wasn't playing church.
Woo! Yeah.
Because my dad always said, be careful who leads you, because he can lead you straight to hell. I told you he was wise, right? And so I wanted somebody that I could submit to, because I'm a very strong Black woman.
Yes.
But I know my lane, and I know how to allow my husband to be
of course. Right. Yes.
Right. And so those were the 3 things I prayed for. We were in service. The service was really high. Folks was dancing all around the church, praising God. This lady I did not know came up to me and prophesied to me. And she said, "Is that your daughter next to you?" I said, "Yes, ma'am." And I'm looking, you know, I'm suspect of people. I'm like,
yeah, of course.
Right. And we in church shouting, and you asking me questions like, what's going on? Right. She said, you know, the Holy Spirit sent me over here to tell you something, and I kept getting nudged, but I don't know you, so I didn't want to come. Mm-hmm. But it didn't go away, so I know that I had to come. She said, God told me to tell you that your husband is coming, and he's coming soon. It's going to be accelerated. She said, I don't know if you need to start looking for a dress or what you need to start doing, but it's coming. And when it comes, don't hold back, because that's your husband. She then said, he's not going to put his hands on you. He's going to love your daughter like she's his own. And he is going to be a man like David, a man after God's own heart. I said,
girl, God just came right on through. Did he not?
I said,
well, answer prayer.
So when somebody prophesies into your life,
that's right.
It has to be in alignment with the things that you pray for. You know what I mean? Like, everybody can't prophesy into your life. And so when she said that, I had a conversation with my first lady, and she was like, well, you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing. Just keep doing it. And that was earlier in that year. And so when my dad passed in 2019, it was the same year. We went from talking to engaged to married in less than a year.
I love it.
So
I love it. That, you know what I love about this story? So many things, girl. So many things, girl. You was like Ruth working in the field, and God was working on the other side on your husband, and just making, you know, he was watching you. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I love that. And I love the fact that you guys didn't even live in the same state, and brought y'all together. I mean, that's a real testimony of what God can do. He moved where you were, right?
No, so he's from Baltimore, but his children live here in Ohio. Oh, okay. So he moved. Him and his ex-wife moved here about 9 or 10 years ago.
Right.
And so this is where she's from. And because I know that he's not going to leave his children, we prayed and fasted together on it. And so when God, you want me to give you how God gave me confirmation that I was supposed to come?
Oh, yes, please. Somebody need this.
Now look, I told you, when I start telling my testimony, it's not the traditional.
I love it.
Because
that's why
God be like showing up and showing out. So what happened was, we were praying and we were fasting for months. I did not want to leave Maryland. Like, I was getting the bag, sis. Like, I was straight. Me and my baby internationally traveling, like, bills paid, money stacked up. I was credit good. I was straight. And that's where my professional networking community was, that I worked so hard to build.
Yes.
And where I had my support. So to leave that was scary.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, God, I need to know. You're going to have to tell me for sure,
Right.
that this is what I'm supposed to do. And so I went to church. It was an elder in the church from New York, a white man.
Mm-hmm.
He was in Baltimore for a conference. He got up there and shared his testimony, and God told me right through his words.
I love it.
He said, I was on the highway and I was driving down 83, which is a highway in Baltimore. I was driving down 83. I ran over something. I seen something in the road. I tried to dodge it, couldn't dodge it. I ran over it. And then I was like, oh, I'm going to just keep driving. So he was like, he kept driving, but he couldn't really accelerate. His car wasn't really going no more. So he pulled over to the side. And when he pulled over to the side, he said, well, let me see what's going on. So he got under there. He seen that it was whatever the thing was stuck. So he pulled it out. Right. So then he pulled back on the road. He was able to drive because it was no longer restricting him, whatever it was that he ran over. And then he said he seen some smoking. So then he said, let me pull over again. He pulled over on the side of the road that second time. And he's like, well, let me pop the hood to see what's going on. Something told him not to pop the hood. So he had got out the car because he was about to pop the hood. Something said, don't pop the hood. All his belongings were in that car. Everything he kept, wallet, everything. He said that car, the front of that car caught on fire. So this car that he worked so hard for, God provided for him and allowed him to get, and it caught on fire. He said that God told him, wait a minute, because I just lost it. He said that God told him, well, he was concerned, I guess, about his financial situation.
Yeah.
And God said, if I did it for you once, I can do it for you again.
Yes. Sis.
And I said, well, Lord,
that's a whole word.
You did it for me. You did it for me more than once, honestly. So you have a track record, and your bank account is heavy, right? And so I said, well, I called my husband now, but I called him and I said, well, babe, I guess I got confirmation. I said, let me tell you what the man at church said. And I told him, and so, here I am. I'm in Ohio. I don't particularly like it here, but I'm here. I know it's not forever, but it's my now.
For a season.
Right. Yeah. It's my now. And because I know he's an amazing father. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And he's extremely active in his kid's life. And so because I know that he's extremely active in his kid's life, I'm okay. I have one, right? So we dealing with the transitions even still.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And trying to build and establish relationships. My daughter has done it. Because I'm out of school now, I can begin to do it. I haven't had time for the last, year and a half, but that's how I knew I was supposed to relocate and how my husband found me.
I love it. Oh my God. I love this because this is really confirmation on confirmation about how God works and how God will see you through. And even though, God will honor your sacrifice, right? That you may think that, oh my God, I did this. God will honor you in your sacrifice for honoring your husband, right? And his position. And it's not going to be forever. It's for a season.
Yeah.
And I'm just declaring with you that God's going to take you higher and higher, and you ain't going to miss nothing.
I receive
not
it all.
A piece of nothing. Okay. That you had back then. You think you had community in Baltimore. Wait and see what God do for you.
Oh, yes.
Right? Yes. I'm declaring that. Everybody heard me. You know what I'm saying? Amen. I love it. I think that sometimes too, when you marry into a ready-made family, there is some like transitions that have to happen with children, and them getting used to you because he was married before, and sometimes when stepmothers and come in situations, kids feel like, who are you? You ain't my mom. You know what I'm saying? And I know a lot of people say you overcome it with love. How do you feel like you're overcoming the blended family situation? Is it still a process?
It's gonna continue to be a process,
right? Yes.
So dealing with two different households it's a struggle. And it's a struggle because what my husband teaches is not what their mother teaches. The way I was raised is not the way that they're being raised.
Right.
And so in that being able, because I went from a 9-year-old to 14 and 15-year-olds.
Yes.
I
Different.
went from being a girl mom to being a girl and a boy mom. You know what I mean? I went from being, somewhat busy with my own stuff and having my daughter in some curricular activities to playing taxi. You know what I mean? Because those kids are extremely active. Like, they play school sports and then they play club sports. They play recreational sports.
I know. It's a
And
lot
so
these days.
trying to build businesses. My husband and I have a rental car business. I have my private practice. I have my nonprofit. He's a personal trainer, so he has that. We have so many things going on, and we have 2 dogs.
Oh, Jesus.
That's my fault, though. I was social worker on that, and us getting 2 dogs. But so I feel that the blended family process is going to be hard, but communication is so important. And taking the time, like the Holy Spirit a friend told me to approach things with compassion.
Always.
And the Holy Spirit told me, now that I'm not in school, I have to take individual time, right? Mm-hmm. Now, will everybody be receptive to the individual time? Maybe not, but that doesn't mean that I don't continue to try to attempt or continue to try to build those relationships, because I know I'm a great person. I don't want to stand in the way of any, I'm not trying to be your mother. You have a mother. However, in building community, you should have trusted adults around you. And I'm an adult that is trustworthy.
I love
right?
That.
And so it is a process. It's going to continue to be a process. I have to stay prayed up, because I told you I'm a little hood and a little ghetto, and my flesh rises up, and I have to tame it and put it back down.
One thing that's helped too is just remember that, and me too. Like, I used to I talk about this a lot of time when I was going through, and just sometimes some of our ways that we carry on, especially when you raise in a hood, like you don't let nobody talk to you a certain way, don't let nobody look to you a certain way, and we neck rolling, and girl, you don't know who you messing with,
all of that.
When you're dealing with the character of the Holy Spirit, that's opposite of that. You know what I'm saying? And so I, even in situations, I always will say, approach it with love, sis, no matter what way they come to you with. And just respect, even though the 2 households might be separate and different, do things differently. You respect whatever, go over there, even if you totally disagree with it, right? Like, hey, I respect that. Okay, that's a different way of looking at that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then hopefully, come around. The Bible says that, a harsh tone can be cooled with, I'm paraphrasing, right? With gentleness,
Yeah.
And so I've, over the last maybe 2-3 years, I've learned to practice gentleness. It is hard, but it's rewarding, right?
Yeah.
To practice love and gentleness, even when it's not shown. And when I want to go be angry and go off and tell people about themselves and roll my neck and say, look, don't mess with me. You want to go outside? You know what I'm saying? Now I'm like, okay, yes. God bless you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's hard to be like, God bless you, because you want to say something else. You know what I'm saying? But there's a reward even in that. And I just admire you for it. And I admire your transparency, because I know somebody's watching this may say, how can I blend? That's such a, can be such a hard thing to do, right? Blended family. But it's also rewarding, because you are gaining a bonus mom, bonus daughter, and they will see your heart eventually.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, your heart is going to shine through, right? They're going to know when somebody is really for them and when somebody is not for them. So they'll know the difference. Right. So absolutely. I love that. I want you to talk, wrap up by just talking about the work that you do in the community, the work you're doing with your programs, so that we all know what Dr. Ashley, what's in store for Dr. Ashley? Tell me.
So let me see. So 3 things. I am a coach, a clinician, and a consultant. I'm all things moms, money, and mental health. And I don't play about my family, my food, or my finances. Okay?
I love that.
I love the number 3, and I love the number 7. But
me too. Those are some of my favorite numbers too. 3 and 7.
Conversations with a Clinician, like I told you earlier, it was birthed through stillness, and it started off And during the pandemic, when March everything closed, April the pandemic happened, and I just wanted to do some things. I thought God was telling me to do some stuff for Mental Health Awareness Month. So I was interviewing 2 people, just like we're doing, 2 people a week. And we were just talking about mental health and entrepreneurship, mental health and relationships, mental health and business, like just a bunch of different things. And so I thought that was just all that it was, but God was birthing something. And so people started to ask, like, well, when is the next conversation? And I'm like, well, it was just for the month of May. Like, what do you mean? And so I started to, but mind you, I had just started my doctoral program as well. During the pandemic, but so it was birthed, and then I got my clinical license, and I said, now I don't have to just work with any clients that an agency is giving me. I can choose the clients that I want to work with.
I love that.
And so I have a specific population that I want to work with. I want to work with individuals that have like high functioning anxiety and depression. I want to work with Black and brown women, right? And so Conversations with a Clinician is a place that allows you to heal through the art of conversation, right? So that's how that, what that is. And it's going to be some group therapy. I'm certified in financial social work as well. And so I understand the relationship between your emotions and your finances, and, what your money story is, and why are you in the financial predicament that you're in. And so that's what Conversations with a Clinician is. Momz on a Mission is a nonprofit that I started prior to the pandemic, but then the pandemic happened and I couldn't do anything with it really like I wanted to. And so there are 3 branches to Momz on a Mission. It's the exposure piece, exposure to both career and exposure to travel. And what's the other tower? Financial empowerment. That's what I went to school for. So I've built a 10-week financial education program.
Love that.
And I have a game to go with it. And it's the single moms are learning about finances with their children, and it's very basic level, right? So that it's age adaptable, and I'm not coming in and talking about stocks and bonds and credit.
Right.
You don't even know how to pay your bills. Like we're really basic. We're really basic level. So what did I say? Exposure, finances, and then basically community. And so single moms, older single moms, more established single moms, mentoring younger single moms, or individuals that have something to give back, mentoring, single moms to build that relationship, to know you have support. So that's what Momz on a Mission is doing. Me and my husband are in the process of doing something together as well. It's kind of in the making, but he works with athletes. I'm trained in a modality called brain spotting, which says that where you look determines how you feel. And so it helps you to overcome any mental blocks, to, just whatever. And so in that aspect of it, I'm going to be, we're going to try to collaborate with some of his athletes to do the physical portion and the mental health portion.
I love that. I'm especially excited about your Momz on a Mission, because I'm big into mentoring. I started a mentoring program at the college I work at. And I, that's what I did. I paired the youth with successful people, and it's nothing like that. Like them to have a model. Some people really perish because they have nothing or no one to look up to, right? And so I love what you're doing. Everything that you're doing for your community, everything that you're doing for single mothers, for Black and brown women, just for women all over. This is so empowering. I'm so glad to have met you. This is wonderful. Yes. And I want to thank you for being on my show today. Where can people find you? If you website, social media, tell us.
Okay. So social media, Facebook is Ashley Lowe-Simmons. Instagram is at ALOWE03. That's going to be changing because everybody's like, you're married now, it's Simmons and you're a doctor. And so, but right now it's ALO03. Website www.conversationswithaclinician.com, or www.momi matters. Play on words. So
I love it. I love it. Oh my gosh, reach out to her, okay? If you need a clinician, especially if you're in the area, even if you're not in the area, single mom, she has great things going on. Absolutely. I know that this is going to be better and better for you, sis. You better keep in touch with me and let me know what's going on.
Absolutely.
All right. I'm waiting for your book too, because I know you're gonna come out with a book.
So actually, I'm gonna talk about that later, since I know that you're a single mom, because I'm in the process of doing an anthology of single mothers that, you know, we might not be single anymore, we might be single, but from
we know what it is.
So exactly. So I'm gonna be reaching out. You gonna have a write a part of the.
Oh yes, girl. I can tell you some stories about single motherhood, girl. Oh yes, you know. Even when them times I wasn't living like for God like I should have been, you know, we go through those self-esteem things as single moms and things like that. So yes, thank you, Dr. Lowe, for being with us today. We got some amazing, awesome women coming up for the month of May. We're still focusing on mental health. I've got Dr. Faith Brown coming again. She's going to be talking about women in relationships. She is amazing. So stay tuned and stay blessed, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.